whatever you want, man.
Hi, I'm Lizzie.
Okay.
The reason I'm here is because my parents are divorced, so the way my family looks, it's a little different from like my counterparts. You know, I don't really have like the most classical family setting. I don't know. It like brings some changes to like my my economic status and like my home life. You know, my familial relationships. But
Did your parents get divorced?
oh, Zooey mama. I think they got, I don't remember the years or anything because time isn't real, but they separated when I was in 4th or 5th grade, and then we kind of went with that for a while, but I don't think the divorce was actually finalized until I was a freshman or a sophomore. But they were like, you know, just like that's just like the legal standpoint. Like they were separated for longer before that, so it wasn't like a big change when they actually like signed the papers.
What were some of the immediate changes or effects it had on you or your lifestyle?
The way my parents are divorced is that they're divorced with shared custody, which just means that I like switch over houses, like between my mom's house and my dad's house, and they're like 10 minutes away. But that's just kind of like discombobulating. Like I don't really like it when people like paint divorce as like a bad thing, because I remember when I was little, I was at Bible camp, and I was like talking to one of my campmates, and I was like, yeah, my parents are divorced. She's like, oh, do you know that your parents sinned because they broke the promise of matrimony? I was like, why are you telling me this? But like honestly, I feel like for my family it was the best option because my parents had ideological differences and they just kind of weren't getting along. But after they divorced, they kind of became closer with each other, but in a friend way. And it was, I think, just the better option for my family and my siblings. And I honestly think my quality of life improved after my parents got divorced. So I really don't think the media, like obviously it's tragic, like that sucks, but I don't like it when the media paints it as like your world is crumbling, because I think it's just a new window of opportunity and should sometimes.
Any significant changes with yourself or your siblings?
I think as a result of the divorce, I became a little more independent. I don't talk to my peers a lot about this, but I feel like I have more of an urge to be like financially independent from my parents, and I'm not sure if my, cohorts feel the same way. I kind of see this in my siblings as well, like a need for independence, which I think this is another positive aspect of divorce, where like it kind of teaches the children from early on how to like fend for themselves in a way, or like focus on themselves instead of like having to lean back on your parents all the time, because they're not always going to be there for you. And I think that's a good lesson to be taught early on, and one that I feel like American children aren't taught that much, because our country kind of has like a reputation for their children being overly dependent on their parents, especially like financially. So I actually think that was a really positive aspect.
What used to be the biggest challenge, and what are your challenges now?
I think the biggest challenge at first was just recognizing that my parents were no longer married. And I sometimes notice my language like differs from my peers, of course, because I'll find myself saying like, oh, both of my parents agree on that, which is just kind of weird. Like, why would you not just say like, oh, my parents agree on that? It's just kind of weird. I see them as like two separate units instead of as one, which I think is actually interesting. I'd love to explore that further.
What advice would you give to people going through the same things as you did?
Although it may seem tragic at first, like the outcome will likely be like much better than it was before, and just better on your parents' mental health, which will reflect through you. So I just think just try and like see it for what it is, and not like let the media affect the way you perceive what's going on.